Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877, the turbulent era following the Civil War, was the effort to reintegrate Southern states from the Confederacy and 4 million newly freed people into the United States. Under the administration of President Andrew Johnson in 1865 and 1866, new Southern state legislatures passed restrictive black codes to control the labor and behavior of former enslaved people and other African Americans. Outrage in the North over these codes eroded support for the approach known as presidential Reconstruction and led to the triumph of the more radical wing of the Republican Party. During Radical Reconstruction, which began with the passage of the Reconstruction Act of 1867, newly enfranchised Black people gained a voice in government for the first time in American history, winning election to Southern state legislatures and even to the U.S. Congress. In less than a decade, however, reactionary forces, including the Ku Klux Klan, would reverse the changes wrought by Radical Reconstruction in a violent backlash that restored white supremacy in the South. Emancipation and Reconstruction. At the outset of the Civil War, to the dismay of the more radical abolitionists in the North, President Abraham Lincoln did not make abolition of slavery a goal of the Union war effort. To do so, he feared, would drive the border slave states still loyal to the Union into the Confederacy and anger more conservative Northerners. By the summer of 1862, however, enslaved people themselves had pushed the issue, heading by the thousands to the Union lines as Lincoln's troops marched through the South. Their actions debunked one of the strongest myths underlying Southern devotion to the peculiar institution, that many enslaved people were truly content in bondage, and convinced Lincoln that emancipation had become a political and military necessity. In response to Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, which freed more than 3 million enslaved people in the Confederate States, by January 1, 1863, Black people enlisted in the Union Army in large numbers, reaching some 180,000 by war's end. Did you know? During Reconstruction, the Republican Party in the South represented a coalition of Black people, who made up the overwhelming majority of Republican voters in the region, along with carpetbaggers and scalawags, as white Republicans from the North and South, respectively, were known. Emancipation changed the stakes of the Civil War, ensuring that a Union victory would mean large-scale social revolution in the South. It was still very unclear, however, what form this revolution would take. Over the next several years, Lincoln considered ideas about how to welcome the devastated South back into the Union, but as the war drew to a close in early 1865, he still had no clear plan. In a speech delivered on April 11th, while referring to plans for Reconstruction in Louisiana, Lincoln proposed that some Black people, including free Black people and those who had enlisted in the military, deserved the right to vote. He was assassinated 3 days later, however, and it would fall to his successor to put plans for Reconstruction in place. Andrew Johnson and Presidential Reconstruction. At the end of May 1865, President Andrew Johnson announced his plans for Reconstruction, which reflected both his staunch unionism and his firm belief in states' rights. In Johnson's view, the Southern states had never given up their right to govern themselves, and the federal government had no right to determine voting requirements or other questions at the state level. Under Johnson's presidential Reconstruction, all land that had been confiscated by the Union Army and distributed to the formerly enslaved people by the Army or the Freedmen's Bureau, established by Congress in 1865, reverted to its pre-war owners. Apart from being required to uphold the abolition of slavery in compliance with the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, swear loyalty to the Union and pay off war debt, Southern state governments were given free rein to rebuild themselves. As a result of Johnson's leniency, many Southern states in 1865 and 1866 successfully enacted a series of laws known as the Black Codes, which were designed to restrict freed black people's activity and ensure their availability as a labor force. These repressive codes enraged many in the North, including numerous members of Congress, which refused to seat congressmen and senators elected from the southern states. In early 1866, Congress passed the Freedmen's Bureau and Civil Rights Bills and sent them to Johnson for his signature. The first bill extended the life of the Bureau, originally established as a temporary organization charged with assisting refugees and formerly enslaved people, while the second defined all persons born in the United States as national citizens who were to enjoy equality before the law. After Johnson vetoed the bills, causing a permanent rupture in his relationship with Congress that would culminate in his impeachment in 1868, the Civil Rights Act became the first major bill to become law over presidential veto. Read more: How the Black Codes Limited African American Progress After the Civil War. Radical Reconstruction. After Northern voters rejected Johnson's policies in the congressional elections in late 1866, radical Republicans in Congress took firm hold of Reconstruction in the South. The following March, again over Johnson's veto, Congress passed the Reconstruction Act of 1867, which temporarily divided the South into 5 military districts and outlined how governments based on universal male suffrage were to be organized. The law also required Southern states to ratify the 14th Amendment, which broadened the definition of citizenship, granting equal protection of the Constitution to formerly enslaved people before they could rejoin the Union. In February 1869, Congress approved the 15th Amendment, adopted in 1870, which guaranteed that a citizen's right to vote would not be denied on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Scroll to continue. Recommended for you. How the 1870s. It's not you. By 1870, all of the former Confederate states had been admitted to the Union, and the state constitutions, during the years of radical Reconstruction, were the most progressive in the region's history. The participation of African Americans in Southern public life after 1867 would be by far the most radical development of Reconstruction, which was essentially a large-scale experiment in interracial democracy unlike that of any other society following the abolition of slavery. Southern Black people won election to Southern state governments and even to the U.S. Congress during this period. Among the other achievements of Reconstruction were the South's first state-funded public school systems, more equitable taxation legislation, laws against racial discrimination in public transport and accommodations, and ambitious economic development programs, including aid to railroads and other enterprises. Read more. The first Black man elected to Congress was nearly blocked from taking his seat. Reconstruction comes to an end. After 1867, an increasing number of Southern whites turned to violence in response to the revolutionary changes of radical Reconstruction. The Ku Klux Klan and other white supremacist organizations targeted local Republican leaders, white and Black, and other African Americans who challenged white authority. Though federal legislation passed during the administration of President Ulysses S. Grant in 1871 took aim at the Klan and others who attempted to interfere with Black suffrage and other political rights, white supremacy gradually reasserted its hold on the South after the early 1870s as support for Reconstruction waned. Racism was still a potent force in both South and North, and Republicans became more conservative and less egalitarian as the decade continued. In 1874, after an economic depression plunged much of the South into poverty, the Democratic Party won control of the House of Representatives for the first time since the Civil War. Read more. How the 1876 election effectively ended Reconstruction. When Democrats waged a campaign of violence to take control of Mississippi in 1875, Grant refused to send federal troops, marking the end of federal support for Reconstruction-era state governments in the South. By 1876, only Florida, Louisiana, and South Carolina were still in Republican hands. In the contested presidential election that year, Republican candidate Rutherford B. Hayes reached a compromise with Democrats in Congress. In exchange for certification of his election, he acknowledged Democratic control of the entire South. The Compromise of 1876 marked the end of Reconstruction as a distinct period, but the struggle to deal with the revolution ushered in by slavery's eradication would continue in the South and elsewhere long after that date. A century later, the legacy of Reconstruction would be revived during the civil rights movement of the 1960s as African Americans fought for the political, economic, and social equality. It's not you. It's your AD blocker.
Oh, give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. All them information, yeah. So, interesting. We are talking about slave codes, we are talking about black codes, we are talking about North and South America. We are talking about the North and the South in the so-called United States, or the States United. So we'll share some of them information there, as usual. As usual. Just for honorable clarification, because everybody want to get involved in our politics. And we are say, yes, we don't have a problem, we could create our own thing. I've always been saying that. Yeah, man. Because whatever is in place now is foreign to us, has always been foreign to us, and will always be foreign to us. And we talk about the Civil Rights Act of 1866. So this information, you would say coincide with that Civil Rights Act. Let me see if I can go through that mess, because we don't have nothing now. Should be able to bring it up. First Civil Rights Act. See if it can.
First Civil Rights Act, 1866. Civil Rights Act of 1866, 1866. Civil Rights Act of 1866. Chapter 31. An act to protect all persons in the United States in their civil rights and furnish the means of their vindication.
Well, it's all persons. All persons. And that is kind of interesting, because we can look on the definition of persons and say person can mean any entity, well, legal persons, because we are looking at a legal document. Legal persons mean any entities other than a natural person that can establish a permanent customer relationship with a financial institution or otherwise own property. This can include companies, bodies, corporate, foundation, and state, installed, partnership, or association and other relevant similar entities, other relevant similar entities, meaning we are talking about a corporation, basically, when we see it this way.
Be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that all persons born in the United States and not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians not taxed,
that all persons born in the United States and not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians not taxed.
Taxed are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States, and such citizens, of every race and color, without regard to any previous condition of slavery or involuntary servitude.
Voila. Slavery or involuntary servitude. Then involuntary servitude is slavery. Then probably if you say slavery or voluntary servitude, that is when you're enslaved without your consent because you don't have the knowledge of what's going on. You don't know the meaning and definition of the words being used. So you're enslaved by your own free will. You agree to be enslaved. That's called voluntary servitude. Because no one give you full disclosure of the negotiations or the terms and conditions of any, say, presumed contract or contractual obligations. So you say them are give slavery and them are give or involuntary servitude. So it can be condition of slavery or slavery, basically. Again, we are not a scholar. We just look upon things a little bit different from most out there. And it's except as punishment for crime, whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. So you see, when them say you're innocent until proven guilty, this is what it was before. Now you're guilty and you better prove yourself innocent because them reverse everything. Here it is saying, except as a punishment for a crime where the party shall have been duly convicted. That means if you're not convicted of the crime, why so much people are being punished? Yeah, with some of them arraignment here where it's so expensive. But them will draw you in a location and just hold you for as long as them want, you know. And then when whatever it is no work out, then them just release you and you have to just go about your business and, you know, there's no recourse, so it seems. So them document here is a document where it's a legal document and we have to construe it as such. So the definition where we would look at as ordinary, we have to be mindful, so it is in fact a legal document. And this is why we say these corporations or corporate entities cannot interface with I as a living man, or as they would term it, natural person. Them can only interface with the legal persons, which is the artificial construct. This is why I emphasize a separation of entity. Are you speaking to me? You know what I mean? Let's be clear. I am who I say I am, not who you presume I to be. So let's get to the specific and remove away from the generality. That's now the general, view constitute our way, facilitate fraud. So when we all look at these things, it's okay for us to take our time. Let's continue.
Servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall have the same right, in every state and territory in the United States, to make and enforce contracts, to sue, be parties, and give evidence, to inherit,
To make and enforce contract, to sue, be parties, and give evidence, to inherit, purchase, lease, sell, hold, and convey real and personal property, and to full and equal benefit of all laws and proceeding for the security of persons and property, as is enjoyed by white citizens. Now, if the must say, as is enjoyed by white citizens, I guess it's safe to say I'm correct when I'm saying them create this 1866 Civil Rights Act because of the oppression and the suffrage of the so-called black people. I hear them saying in the document 4 million black people. This is all politics. The moment them get us to assimilate within their political system, then boom, we're trapped. And now we have to look to a foreign system for everything. When before they say Indian not tax, and we are that Indian. It's just that we have so much division. So much people were full of themselves. Some of these people were, I know for a fact, a few years ago when I'm looking at them being, new to this scene or arena. A lot of them employed here, employed there. A lot of them, all different kind of businesses. And then everybody become, say, conscious by way of the Moors. Because everybody was Moors at one point. Then it become the conscious community. We're Africans. You know what I mean? Until it trickled down to us figuring out that this is who we are. Because we are West Indians. And they must say Indian. And when we're looking at the laws, it says Indian not tax. Then we now have to assume that role as that Indian that's not taxed. As that Indian that is not a citizen of the corporate United States. I'd say as a clearly representative of the United States of America in Congress assembled. All persons born in the United States, excluding Indians, not tax. So we have to find out who them are called Indians. Because we know we know when the Hindustani people came here, what them call the East Indians. And we have people that show documentation of, the Mongoloids, both light shade and dark shade. And even I present the basic document where we also look at the 1620 Charter of New England. This is what they call this place at that time. So it come all the way down to us as a people. It wasn't those stringy-haired Mongoloids being brutalized in the 60s. Martin Luther didn't march for any so-called foreign people. He marched for his people. Martin Luther King even come here on the island and speak at our university on behalf of the Indians here. But a lot of people miss it because of this Pan-African mess. This is why we choose for the share information and say, let the chips fall with the lie. Make it stay right there. We don't have to prove anything. We just do what we choose to do. And once it's lawful and correct, then we can, resignate right there. Never about the clout or the hype. Never about money. Yeah, man. Them say labor for learning before you grow old. Because learning is better than silver and your gold. Your silver and your gold will vanish away. But the correct education, that information will always stay. So that's how we draw our line. Yeah, man, it's not about the fanfare. It's about a truth that is so intrinsic, where it's only the deceptive power that's out there make our people we miss it. Most of we get caught in the illusion that talk about we want financial security. Where? In that foreign system? Again, it's just free will. Here they must say again, enjoyed by the white citizens. So on to the black citizens and the Indians that are non-citizens. You understand? I remember, these things are for all persons or all people. That's what the document has said. So there is a specific group of people who had a problem with this kind of documentation saying, hey, you can't just bully the black people, them so-called. And in order to appease the black people, who are the original people of this land, who they are called slave and all of these things, them give them some kind of privilege to vote. What the mess is that? To vote? And when them are try to get privilege to vote, it was just to build up their political, base. Now, the Republican at that time have a strong political base because them have a lot of 4 million brand new assimilated American Indians. And this is why them can rename you, reclassify you, reorganize you, and do all kind of things with you because you allow it to happen. You don't necessarily want to separate from your oppression. You don't want to leave your slave master. You're too comfortable. That's the problem with most of the people. Find people so comfortable in them slavery, them a teach all kind of slave doctrines. Guys, as bringing redress when we are talking about freedom, people are talking about commerce. People are worried about a foreign economy. Remove yourself from your voluntary servitude. Again, remove yourself from your voluntary servitude. People.
Purchase, lease, sell, hold, and convey real and personal property, and to full and equal benefit of all laws and proceedings for the security of person and property, as is enjoyed by white citizens, and shall be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that all persons born in the United States, and not subject to any foreign power, excluding Indians not taxed, are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States, and such citizens, of every race and color, without regard to any previous condition of slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall have the same right, in every state and territory in the United States, to make and enforce contracts, to sue, be parties, and give evidence, to inherit, purchase, lease, sell, hold, and convey real and personal property, and to full and equal benefit of all laws and proceedings for the security of person and property, as is enjoyed by white citizens, and shall be subject to like punishment, pains, and penalties, and to none other, any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, to the contrary notwithstanding. Sector 2. And be it further enacted, that any person who, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, shall subject, or cause to be subjected, any inhabitant of any color of any law, any inhabitant state or territory to the deprivation of any right secured or protected by this act, or to different punishment, pains, or penalties on account of such person having at any time been held in a condition of slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, or by reason of his color or race, than is prescribed for the punishment of white persons, shall be deemed guilty of a misdemeanor, and on conviction, shall be punished by fine not exceeding $1,000, or imprisonment not exceeding 1 year, or both in the discretion of the court. Sector 3. And be it further enacted that the district courts of the United States, within their respective districts, shall have, exclusively of the courts of the several states, cognizance of all crimes and offenses committed against the provisions of this act, and also, concurrently with the circuit courts of the United States, of all causes, civil and criminal, affecting persons who are denied or cannot enforce in the courts or judicial tribunals of the state or locality where they may be any of the rights secured to them by the first section of this act, and if any suit or prosecution, civil or criminal, has been or shall be commenced in any state court against any such person for any cause whatsoever, or against any officer, civil or military, or other person for any arrest or imprisonment, trespasses, or wrongs done or committed by virtue or under color of authority derived from this act, or the act establishing a bureau for the relief of freedmen and refugees, and all acts amendatory thereof, or for refusing to do any act upon trespasses the ground that it would be inconsistent with this act. Such defendant shall have the right to remove such cause for trial to the proper district or circuit court in the manner prescribed by the act relating to habeas corpus and regulating judicial proceedings in certain cases, approved March 3, 1863, and all acts amendatory thereof. The jurisdiction in civil and criminal matters hereby conferred on the district and circuit courts of the United States shall be exercised and enforced in conformity with the laws of the United States, so far as such laws are suitable to carry the same into effect. But in all cases where such laws are not adapted to the object, or are deficient in the provisions necessary to furnish suitable remedies and punish offenses against law, the common law, as modified and changed by the Constitution and statutes of the state wherein the court having jurisdiction of the cause, civil or criminal, is held, so far as the same is not inconsistent with the Constitution and laws of the United States, shall be extended to and govern said courts in the trial and disposition of such cause, and, if of a criminal nature, in the infliction of punishment on the party found guilty. Sector 4. And be it further enacted that the district attorneys, marshals, and deputy marshals of the United States, the commissioners appointed by the circuit and territorial courts of the district attorneys, marshals United States, with powers of arresting, imprisoning, or bailing offenders against the laws of the United States, the officers and agents of the Freedmen's Bureau, and every other officer who may be specially empowered by the President of the United States, shall be, and they are, hereby, specially authorized and required, at the expense of the United States, to institute proceedings against all and every person who shall violate the provisions of this act, and cause him or them to be arrested and imprisoned, or bailed, as the case may be, for trial before such court of the United States, or territorial court as by this act has cognizance of the offense, and with a view to affording reasonable protection to all persons in their constitutional rights of equality before the law, without distinction of race or color, or previous condition of slavery or involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, and to the prompt discharge of the duties of this act. It shall be the duty of the circuit courts of the United States and the superior courts of the territories of the United States, from time to time, to increase the number of commissioners, so as to afford a speedy and convenient means for the arrest and examination of persons charged with a violation of this Act, and such. Commissioners are hereby authorized and required to exercise and discharge all the powers and duties conferred on them by this Act, and the same duties with regard to offenses created by this Act, as they are authorized by law to exercise with regard to other offenses against the laws of the United States.
I'll definitely place this document, the link in the description, where people can gain access. Yeah, man. I don't want to spend too much more time out here, more time we kind of choose for have other things to do at the moment. But yeah, we'll wrap it up now and give thanks for the basic sharing of the information. It kind of disheartening and disappointing when we look out there and we see ones and ones a bicker amongst themselves over nothing at all. Again, we see people where now at 2022 put themselves up in some position where them have themselves like they are the authority and they have been doing this and they know all of these things. And I am here long enough, you can say, I remember when you were clueless. I remember when you were doing something else. And that goes for both the male and the female side. That's, create a lot of unnecessary dramas, keeping different camps, separating the people unnecessarily. I know it's for the commercial gain because everybody is monetized, everybody is incorporated, everybody is a business. So when you call this man's name, it's a business. When you call that woman's name, it's a business. And, they take on the very same, attitude of the colonizers where man sue each other and this one wants to sue that one. It's unnecessary from my perspective. Information share is just that, so people can at least choose to apply themselves or arm themselves with some correct information. Too much of we in our egos, but we think we're all of that. And if you just remove YouTube from the scene, then that's it for most of us. Nothing at all. Right back to where you was. Nothing at all. And for the one them we are glamorized their wealth, their riches, their commercial accolades and success, then let's see you take it to your grave with you. Let's see that. Why you people don't, compete how much, unfortunate people you can aid? Why you don't compete that way? Why you don't compete on how much hours you guys spend in certain location actually teach people the basics? That's where the competition should be. Let's outdo each other. Which one of us can be much better? But instead, wanna perpetuate the agenda of the colonizers. A lot of a proper agent, and I keep saying it with no apology. A lot of you guys are some agents, man. And it's obvious. And all people need to do is just check some of y'all background. Just go check the background. Yeah, man. Just go looking at someone on the background, man. And that's all it is. We as a people have to choose for the better, We really have to choose for the better. Yeah, man. Right, sis. Subversion. Yeah, man. And this is why I'm kind of tone down on a lot of things. And I not necessarily want to have a big group when me a group up. I don't mind supporting. Me will support my people. If I see the Rasta man I do something what I know say for the people, me I support the Rasta movement. You understand? If I see the Christian I do something where, you know, in support of I people for the progress of I people, me I support the Christian. Hey, you have my vote, you have my support. Hey, we need it. If I got it, here it is. Once it's for the upliftment and the progress of my people. I as an Ahuuahkhuu where always I show support. This is the problem. We have a lot of people like for, you just say pirate other people information and rebrand it, bring it forward as if, and then some people say, hey, it's plagiarism. There's a difference. You have people what they will actually do the things them what them are say, them actually living that way, them are do it. You have actual people like that out here on YouTube. They're few, but they're there. And then you have the business people where they tell you everything what to do, but they are doing the total opposite. They're not doing none of what they're telling you to do. They can't. The moment I find myself in a courthouse, judicial settings, whether it's both criminal or traffic, and I could have, you'd say, feel my way through that thing, that system, because we weren't trained or taught. So when I man could have feel my way through that system after 2 years without the aid of any kind of attorney, then I'm confident to say there is a difference. Yeah, man, with a man who can stand up as that man, opposed to the man we're gonna need a lot of high paid attorneys. There's a huge difference there. And this is why I'm gonna follow somehow no want to talk or no can't back it up. You can't tell me you're free and I tell me say boy you have this big bossy license and you not tell me say you know how to endorse it. You can't tell me say you're free and you come tell me about you pay all kind of insurance when you have a birth registration form will secure that. What you think that bond is? It's all kind of things. Yeah, man, and it represent asset. So I don't know what people really are say out there. This is why we always try again honorable clarification. I said this is a foreign system will come and impose itself on us as a people, the original people that come to here. This is what I'm saying. I have no interest right now for a debate about how much 1,000 years ago and who originating after. That's not the debate. That's not the argument. That's not the, that's the subject matter. The subject matter is 1492. You understand? 1620. what is that? 76? 1781, 1933, 1913, 1917. These are the specificity what we are deal with. We are talking about a banking holiday. We are talking about a emergency banking act. We are talking about what is known as a Federal Reserve System, which is a, what would we call it? Commercial book entry system. where you only deal with paper. That's all. It's all paper, what I'm called instrument. Depending on its formation, it can be a note. This is our basic philosophical reasoning. This is for our grassroots people where they don't have a clue what me I talk about, but them are going to find interest to say, what that? Make we go look. This is for us, not for this agent them, where them prop up themselves and when them, work them Moorish magic and them organizational magic and achieve whatever it is, then them come and teach the people something else. I not get that. People, in order for this corporate construct interface with you, then the need, it's imperative, it's a must. They must have what is known as a legal person or a legal entity or a juristic person or an enlegis, my people. And when we can create a separation of entity in affidavit form, then you ask them, who are you speaking to? You know what I mean? Be more specific. This is the level where I'm on there, and I really try getting on about the business. I just say, hold on. If you are give me an offer, guys, offer, which is a presentment, an acceptance, and this is what negotiation is, or counter offer. But when all my company, because me is a man that really have much of this and that, I probably have to try really put myself in a position for get some whole heap of bills and start try some things. But me have my little company where send me a bill and through my comprehension, me I say, okay, so this is a draft with a check attached to it, and them say me supposed to pay such and such, and there is no money. And according to the laws where we know, then we can just endorse this thing, you know what I mean? Because it's a check. You know what I mean? And by endorsing it, me acknowledge and accept it. And me go give them a few instructions. And then mail back that check to them without any money. Me now make them no offer say me I pay you with my birth certificate or me I do. No, none of that. I'm just returning their offer. You know what I mean? Acknowledging, accepting, and returning it. However, sure me know it's a smooth, me have to smile because I say my company sent me a bill and I'm not gonna lie, I say discount. Me I wonder if my phone really tap that way or down to the utility agencies them can have access to your information. Because I just thought the other day, I said, hey, so your company supposed to reduce the people and bill at least make them have a, look upon them bill and say, what? Normally me I get 6,000. Oh, them cut it in half for me. Them I give me 3,000 this month. Excellent. These things are incentive. But when the corporation just a bully you like all the Jamaica, what them call it out here, the light company and the water company, them just increase your bill and you have no recourse. You can't even say nothing because you don't want to go without water. You don't want to go without light. Because you're going to get shame and embarrassed. So your neighbor them will say, watch your water man cut off him light. Him can't pay him water bill and him can't. And everybody shame face. So him say, watch you, make me go sell that and go around and even back road to make sure I pay these bills. Craziness. This is the problem. Them thing I make crime rampant. Yeah, man, and not just money. Because you give fool money, you say what the fool do with money. In the foolishness. But when you remove the need for money, then a man have got to think about something else. Now your creativity can come forward. What you gonna do? Stick up a man and say what you want. More on your ideas. What you want. You get me? Because there's no money. We remove that concept. Because everything is negotiable. Once you write on paper, you make an offer looking for an acknowledgement or an acceptance to maintain that honor. But them thing are our point of view. Because when I approach it like how we say the agents them do it. The government man not give me no blueprint. Because me realize now when me talk, me see all certain agency of my narrative word for word in them literatures. And I said, this is what they are saying out there. And whenever I find back that information, because I find the information and it kind of shock me, I say, I hope nobody else that say this and that go find out. Say I'm at the very same thing when I talk about, I never read from the script. I wasn't reading from the script when I give my opinion. That's my point of view. Everybody have their own. People might have problem with mine. So when a day I try to get to body with enough foreign corporate agencies. Create a separation of entity and let them be specific. Remove the generality. That's for slave. Yeah, man. I'm gonna exclude myself, That's why I'm going to say, because I realize that some people I deal with we like we are slaves. I mean, I feel always I say slave who? Slave upon that a lady there. We take you to school when you're young and put nappy upon you. And that's the slave there. But true, we have so much agent, so much people attack, so much different kind of garbage. We have so much people attack, so much different kind of mess. Me just say, boy, it's like a total waste of time. Really? Total waste of time. However, we still stand firm and stay resolute, in our pursuit. Yeah, man, with this freedom in and freedom in. If it is only an idea, if it is only a mustard seed, we have said non-participation with all foreign corporation. Non-participation. When you're not going to engage with meaning or legal entity, then we're supposed to, respond as the agent for our own legal entity accordingly. Not this confusion where you think you are that corporation. Create a separation of entity. Because one name is in all caps, meaning persons or registered organization or association, while the upper and lower case name represent you, the living man or woman. It's not you, it does represent you. Because the you, what we are talking about, is where you are here from I. It's within. The spirit where animate me, is it you are here? It's within I. It manifests from I. The body where you're looking at, what them call the corpus, is just the vessel. When you remove what you're hearing, which is the spirit, then this vessel become obsolete. It not have no more use. And them, simplicity among them, practicality among, not this complexity with some geek, with some bag of people where are going like say them, oh, you know what I mean? Where is the simplicity? Aren't we not all being oppressed by a foreign construct? So why? Because you find some comfortable location within that foreign construct. You think, say, hey, it's okay. My people, get out of her. Separate from her. Remove yourself from that artificial construct, from that piece of paper. Declare yourself free. Only you can do it. And then make a step, slowly, cautiously, and with knowledge. Congress now have no authority over me. The government of Jamaica now have no authority over me, not this man. Not even Parliament, my people. And that goes for all of you guys who choose to be free. And a party thing, and we're rich over here, so and we can do what we want without consequence. It's never that. Now it means we're lawful and we're correct, and we are being held at a much higher standard. You understand? Because we self-governance. We are governed with self, so we have our own government. Yeah, man, and we have our own state. And when a group of we come together, this is our united state of being. And them simplicity, yeah, man. Have people a trick with them word wizardry and a fool way. Show them that on YouTube, or we call it them that on TV, like some divas. I sell prosperity. Slave a teach slavery. Selling prosperity. You can get all kind of relief around here, but you'll never be free. I'll give you a plethora of credit, but you will never, ever make a statement like this. It's a backward foreign corporation. Backward from where? This is the clarity. Make we deal with what is, for lack of a better word, real, opposed to the unreal. Yeah, man. So again, we just pass through and I share basic information, just a whole of basic energy, and I say, all right. It's not about the hype. It's not about your views, your little clown. It's not about your so-called popularity. Clown. On our sell out. On our sell out for things. When on always have all of these things. Don't sell out for people, and stop on a little small-minded bickering. Some of them ladies here out here, sometimes just keep your mouth shut. If you don't have nothing good to say about the people that are putting them work, girlfriend, just keep your mouth shut. Because we know when I see gainful employment here and there, we know of it. So now act like some queen mother, and I try police everybody when I have on our own picnic. We wrap up in the Department of Justice system. Pay attention there, someone. I make people where I try bill and do them thing. Allow them to be. If a man did mess up yesterday and he might correct himself, yeah, allow him to do that. And if a woman did mess up around this and she correct herself, allow her to do that. But when it's like it's a rating thing. No different from the oppressors. Oh, you're getting more views than me. Let me lick some shot. Oh, it's coonery, man. It's clowning. I do not stop to look and see how far I come. I can't see it. Because everybody I get caught up in this money deceit. Nobody no want to teach the practicality of an acceptance or, counterclaim or counter offer. But you can't make me an offer looking for an acceptance and me going to make you another offer. It change everything. And subliminally, me I say, from me I talk like this. So I know my little service provider, is more a family thing, So I'm not going to really try push certain fire. But I am truly appreciative of the gesture. Yeah, probably it's an error in the billing, Because I've never seen these people give a reduction in their bill. But I mean, I'm not going to talk out loud. We just take our time and just laugh at it. But I'm saying people, if there is no money and the money what we have, like Federal Reserve note, is a negotiable instrument, then, you know what I mean? Remember, we have show document where I say you have a right to make contract, or enforce contract, You have a right to sue, We have all of these rights as, man and woman with a legal entity out there. Salute, sis. Listen, most people have that issue. Most people want us learn the correct way, the proper way, so them can push forward, opposed to have to sit for year in, year out, listening to some people satisfy them ego with no solution. Well, I man said us declare yourself free. And when a guy challenge you, you just stand up on your declaration. And as you go forward according to how you're constructed within the within the artificial system, then you just take your time, approach it that way. Oh, there's attachment here. Let me see how can I cancel or remove myself or revoke or rescind. Because it's all contract. No man can't tell us you're in a contract and can't come out of it. I don't know about those things. Because even the Freemason one them will take blood oath. It's just that when them come out, it's called the blanche for a man cut them short because of the contract with them sign. But I not sign a secret contract. I not in a no kind of secret organization. I don't even in a secret with nobody. You know, notice my platform, a man can't complain a whole heap of talking game with me. Not that you try to get rich off on a man problem, you mad? Can't. We have to share information to alleviate people problem. To aid people in the situation where them have a them thing that we are dealing with. That's what we want. No one a school. You get up and go to some other guy's school and the guy where say my teacher is a rotted slave with a rotted government check because he is a rotted agent and I sell out all of the rotted people. I be a rotted miss out the eye. We have enough fight. Yeah, man, we have enough fight, man. It's a pity I can't find a tune in the early morning to lit up this place. You understand? Because we're too passive. We go like we are some. Which artist me can't find where for just burn down this judgment? I'm going to fireman Capleton, you know, but I don't know if Capleton fire hard enough from there. But he was a controversial artist, you know. Everybody I beat the artist bad, but I like the message. I like the message. I like the message. So I have to forgive it, you know. Yeah, man. Just take the message from the artist, and I can't deal with the artist, I don't want to deal with him. But I salute the message, you know.
Yeah, man. I am Selassie, I am weird. The ancient of days never quite. That's the part I love me, babe.
Give them it again.
Yeah, man. I am Selassie, I am weird. The ancient of days never quite. That's the part I love me, babe.
Bunda.
Can't go, can't quench, everlasting burning fire, Babylon your rent, can't go, can't quench, everlasting burning fire, heard that judgment I tell you, can't go, can't quench, everlasting burning fire, Babylon get rent, can't go, can't
Rastaman them
quench,
get soft now, Aya.
Babylon, they always say you get your food to eat and yet you find it hard to feed another you that come up at your feet. Then always it you always a strive and yet you find it hard to show another get so you don't survive. That's why I think Selassie I will praise. Run the tell Pharaoh, him city that God bless. Me know a king or a star for right upon his throne. Babylon, we the dust brimstone. No one on him can't pull, can't quench.
Everlasting burning fire,
Babylon
Babylon
your rent,
the
can't pull, can't quench. Africa my true heart desire. Black parents, can't pull, can't quench. Everlasting
We have to give thanks to the artist, you know. And you hear me telling about Sizzler. Here the man say Africa and true heart desire. And when I come tell me about him, an indigenous president what kind of mess? We not play them kind of game there. Trick or not trick way. Mix or not mix up the rest of all kind of folly. You know what I mean? Talk to them, DJ. Salute people. Let the artist carry what home, you know? Gratitude again.
We stand strong. Yeah, we stand strong. Stand up like a man. Stand up like a man. See the face of evil there.